The problem with Vivek Ramaswamy is that he's an Indian and a Hindu. He's a skinny vegetarian with a weird last name who talks fast and is smart. That's basically it. That's the problem. Vivek Ramaswamy, intelligent, articulate, quick on his feet, energetic on the campaign. President Trump's pick to co-lead the Department of Government Efficiency with Elon Musk. Vivek was the only GOP primaries candidate that stayed to support Trump throughout the 45th president's campaign against Biden and Kamala. As smart and articulate as he is, many Americans simply do not trust him because Vivek is not the norm. And if this wasn't clear before, the backlash over his Christmas 2024 tweet about H-1B visas has proved that not being a WASP is a serious hindrance in American politics. Vivek's tweet on Christmas 2024 effectively ended his political aspirations. In it, he addressed the US's reliance on H-1B visa holders, pointing out that American culture seemed inadequate in fostering talent capable of competing in STEM fields on a global stage. While the underlying narrative of the backlash was that Vivek had unwittingly attacked American culture and the work ethic of average Americans, the truth appears to be that his critics seized upon his comments as an excuse to lash out at someone they already mistrusted. The anger was not rooted in the content of his remarks, but in the underlying discomfort that a non-white, non-Christian individual occupying a prominent political role had the audacity to make a critical comment about average Christian white people. Vivek's problem is multifaceted, but fundamentally boils down to his appearance and intelligence. He looks different and appears too smart for a political landscape that values familiarity over intellect. America, dominated by white Anglo-Saxon Protestant traditions on both the right and the left, has a unified distaste for non-WASPs, even if it manifests differently. On the right, there is a tendency to signal values like work ethic and cultural emphasis on pulling oneself up by the bootstraps. Yet, when someone like Vivek critiques their work ethic or suggests that their traditions might not be adequate for certain things, this criticism is often met with hostility. The left, on the other hand, loves to virtue signal their supposed blindness to race and their efforts to uplift those they see as disadvantaged. However, this perspective is rooted in a paternalistic view that betrays their underlying assumptions about race and culture. Both sides, despite their ideological differences, are fundamentally rooted in the supremacy of WASP culture and traditions. Vivek's critique of American cultural inadequacies struck a nerve not because it was untrue, but because it came from someone perceived as an outsider. The core of the controversy stemmed from Vivek's comments on H-1B visas, where he implied that WASP culture created a populace unable to compete in STEM with other cultures. This claim, while objectively supported by U.S. educational metrics and also by global stereotypes about American ignorance, was inflammatory because it challenges a deeply held narrative. Americans, particularly those on the right, view themselves as hardworking and innovative. To hear someone state that their culture does not foster the best talent was a direct insult. The truth often angers those who live in a lie. And this precisely is what happened here. The already existing mistrust of Vivek Ramaswamy due to his ethnicity and religion now expressed itself as an outpouring of angry backlash on what was perceived to be an attack on American culture. His statement was a spark in a powder keg of latent bias. It is worth noting that similar critiques of American culture have been made by others without eliciting comparable outrage. When these observations come from individuals who fit a more traditional mode of American leadership, they are often accepted or at least tolerated. However, when Vivek made such statements, his identity became a convenient justification for the backlash. This double standard reveals the deeply ingrained biases that persist in American political and social discourse. The right reacted strongly to Vivek's comments because they challenged the unspoken assumption of WASP cultural supremacy. On the left, people were more than happy to watch the rift between the racist redneck conservatives and the Silicon Valley conservatives. A number of political commentators had called attention to the amusing fact that Vivek, as a South Asian, had basically just said to white people exactly what white people have been saying to black people for a very long time, that there was something wrong with their culture. In both cases, Vivek's ethnicity and religion served as the backdrop for the hostility, making it easier for detractors to dismiss his arguments as out of touch or inappropriate. The controversy surrounding Vivek Ramaswamy is a case study in how America's racial and cultural biases continue to influence political discourse. His Christmas 2024 tweet was not the sole cause of the backlash, but rather a trigger that exposed deeply held mistrust rooted in his identity. Vivek's critiques, while objectively valid, were met with hostility not because they were false, but because they came from someone who challenged the traditional mode of American leadership. The problem with Vivek is not his intelligence or his arguments, it is that he does not fit the WASP archetype that dominates American politics. His case serves as a reminder of the challenges faced by non-WASP individuals in American politics and the enduring influence of racial and cultural biases in shaping public perception.